What is up, my peeps? It's Lucian here.
Today, we'll be looking at a mini how-to guide on the Ranger and the 15v15 PvP battleground for Ranger's perspective. I would like to say as a little disclaimer before we get more in-depth into this guide, I am not a min-maxer. I do not care enough to ensure that 0.1% more fighting power is there, or calculate the damage range between a skill set and another skill set to find out whether one will give 5 more damage over the other and all that fun stuff. I play the game to have fun, and my definition of fun is enjoying the dungeons, learning to perform adequately on the class I'm currently playing so as to not drag down my teammates, and progressing in a relatively decent pace so as to not get completely left behind. For those that do enjoy min-maxing, crunching the numbers, and finding out the best possible gear combination and rotations to give you every single bit of benefit as possible, please do continue, as generally you're the ones I turn to for advice. Now, with that in mind, and out of the way, let's jump into this. We'll start off with a look at the Ranger in general, and then move on to our PvE, and finally into the PvP. So, this is a Ranger. We use bows and arrows. The arrows go pew pew, and then the things the arrows hit go blah. And we're done. You are now a Master Ranger. I'm kidding. Okay. Serious time. Tactics and their uses. At level 45, in the current state of the game, we have 4 tactics available to us. Eventually, this will open up to 6. But for now, we have Marksman, Sniping, Rapid Attack, and Focused Attack. Each of these tactics have their own uses, however, some more so than the others. Marksman gives quick, fast attacks that require minimal charging. The damage isn't the highest, but when you need a quick burst of attacks, this is your go-to. Sniping provides you very heavy hitting skills that take some time to charge up. Most of the chains here will contain a charge attack. These, of course, provide a bit more bang, just takes a little longer to get off. Rapid Attack. This has our AoEs. Rangers aren't the AoE kings in this game, but we do have a bit. Now this is very situational in my opinion, as Berserkers and Mages tend to have a bit better AoE skills, and Rangers have better single target DPS. Usually the AoE is left to those guys. The AoE that we do have will come in handy for hunt quests and situations where you know there will be lots of mobs and no bosses in the dungeons. Switching between tactics can become tedious, but if your party cares enough to be extremely efficient, it may happen. Focused Attack gives a little extra CC from our skills and provides buffs, mostly to ourselves. We have our knockdown in this stance, as well as a few buffs to our attacks. Some Ranger tips. Switching between stances before the last skill in a chain hits the target will apply the new stance buff to that skill. Switching to a new stance after the 3rd chain skill and immediately using the 1st skill in the new chain before the timer runs out will allow you to continue the combo, finishing up with a 6-chain combo. Your dodge roll, if timed correctly, will make you immune to not only damage, but CC as well. If you are CC'd, you can still dodge roll to move you from that specific position, but you will be stuck in place after the roll is complete for the duration of the CC. So if you were supposed to be stunned for 3 seconds and you roll, you'll be stunned for 2 seconds after you complete the roll, but you'll be in a new place. This comes in pretty handy when running dungeons, especially with bosses and such. The Ranger class has a few tactics that cater to different playstyles. I highly recommend messing around with them to find the one you like. Do you prefer being hidden and doing a boatload of damage? Or do you prefer weaving CCs in between hits and draining people's health? Or do you prefer being mobile all the time? There's a stance for that. Click on the specialty store, Other, and you'll be able to purchase a skill reset for 1 Lumina on a weekly basis. Make use of this if you haven't found your playstyle as yet. Now, Rangers in PvE. As a Ranger, you must maintain your concentration, so switching stances is absolutely mandatory. Each tactic has its own cooldown, the longest being 4 seconds, so you should have no problem going through a combo, switching stances, and then following up with your next combo. Now, for PvE, between the different tactics, generally I would suggest Marksman and Rapid Attack to help with continuous damage and clearing waves faster. For dungeons, I switch between Marksman Snipe and Marksman Rapid Attack. For PvP, that would depend on your playstyle. For me, I prefer Marksman Snipe. However, Snipe Focused Attack is pretty popular as well. The reason I go Marksman Snipe is because in my opinion, Snipe Focused Attack is better for duels or 1v1s as it has more CC and mobility. For Marksman Snipe, because I'm generally in the back of a big group, it makes it harder for people to focus on me, giving me more of a chance to charge those snipes that automatically crit, meaning I can wipe out a big chunk of someone's health without them even knowing what's hitting them. Keep in mind though, doing this has made me the target for quite a few people in the 15v15 once they realize who's doing the damage. Generally, in a big crowd, however, it'll be a bit harder for them to get to me. Let's look at a full combo for the Ranger. We'll start off with a slow go at it, so you guys clearly see everything as well as the timers on each combo. In dungeons, once you've learned the timings of the mobs, bosses, and their skills, you can prolong a combo chain, let's say the boss is immune or going to take extra damage in a couple seconds, if you need to. After we've done the slow rotation, we'll go through it at normal speed, hoping in the situation that you're trying to get out as much DPS as quickly as possible. So that is what the 6-chain combo looks like for the Ranger. I'm sure you guys already know this, or if you don't, then bonus. Rangers in PvP. In PvP, Rangers are not that great, honestly. Paladins and Guardians have all the CC, defense, and enough damage to weigh you down while you're stunned. And you will be stunned. Trust me. And you can burn a Paladin's health just to kind of watch them heal it all the way back up again. Meaning, all your efforts were useless. Mages have a mana shield that will take you a bit to burn through, and by the time you've gotten through it, you'll be at half health. Oh, and don't forget, they also have 3 blinks that will put them on the other side of the friggin' world before you can even ask where'd they go. With that in mind, as of this point in the game, the 15v15 is where Rangers can actually be of decent use in PvP, as a good combo will drop most of the people to the point where they either need to run away or you just straight up one-shot them. So, we currently have 2 designated PvP arenas, a 3v3 and a 15v15. The 3v3 is essentially a Paladin, Guardian, and whoever wants to get carried versus the same. It's really not that interesting, just because it's essentially 2 Paladins or 3 Paladins or whatever the case is, CC people, tanks, going at it. The 15v15 is what we'll be looking at. That's a little bit more fun, gives you a little bit more variety and fighting chance. There are 5 sections that need to be captured. The northern, southern, western, eastern, and center flags. You gain points over time for each section that your team controls, and as you can imagine, the more sections your team has control over, the more points you gain. The first team to hit 20,000 points wins. I was on Discord with my guild as we did this run, and as you can imagine, it got really noisy in there, so I didn't include that audio. So let's just focus on my positioning throughout the round, and yes, this is one of the better rounds, I will be the first to admit that. It doesn't always go this well, but there's no point in looking at the crappy ones, right? I mean, you could make the argument that you learn a lot from the failed battlegrounds as well. However, is it really that much you can learn from facing a Zerg where your teammates are all hiding in the back? However, if you'd like, I can try recording one of the bad runs as well. Just let me know in the comments. So, guys, I hope this has been a little bit of help and insight into the Ranger. If it was, please do leave a like and maybe consider subscribing. Alright peeps, that's it for this video. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Oh.